you should do it right away. I think maybe kind of dabbling into YouTube and getting an idea of what you might actually want to do in real estate. Because the one thing with real estate is there's so many different ways to make money. You can do wholesaling, rehabbing, buy and holds, burst strategy, sub two, multifamily, mobile home park. You can do so much.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Skorch the Fears. We have the great Alex Quezada on here on the podcast. I've been following him for a minute. He recently did a podcast with my mentor and one of my great friends, Pace Morby, talking about self-storage. That's where I was like, okay, I got to know his personality a little bit more, especially from that one. And I was like, man, that would be dope to have him on the podcast. Super chill guy. Was immediately like, sure, man, like, when do you want me on? And I'm like, when's the next time you're free? And he's like, next week. And I'm like, all right, I'm into it. Right. So I was like, why not? Let's do it. And so, yeah, my man, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It's going to be a lot of fun. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, pleasure. Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
Love it. So tell me real quick, just for the people that don't know you, quickly introduce yourself, like what you do in real estate, all of that good stuff.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I'm Alex Quezada. My operation's in Orlando, Florida. So I've been doing real estate for 12 years and started with residential real estate, done a lot of wholesaling, started buying and holding assets in 2017 with creative financing as my backbone of picking up properties, creative financing and private money. And so built up a portfolio since 2017. We own 260 plus doors, over 200,000 square feet of self-storage. We're developing 90,000 square feet of self-storage in Tallahassee, Florida. And so self-storage is my main focus, but we still have our residential business, our wholesale operation. My brother runs the day-to-day of that business, and we do multiple seven figures in that business. And we have some other, bolt-on businesses as well, and looking to continue to grow all our businesses and continue to scale up and continue to take down assets and grow our holdings. Self-storage is my go-to right now, and I've been focusing on that. We've purchased 9 properties in the last 3 years and doubled the value of 3 of them, sold those pretty quickly, and looking to continue to buy more assets in great markets.
I love it. So why self-storage? Like, on it, I'm gonna be honest, before that podcast, I knew basically very little about self-storage. But why do self-storage versus multifamily versus hotels versus any of the other big asset classes you could be doing? Like, what attracted you to self-storage in general?
Yeah. So essentially, I've done multifamily and mobile home parks. I like mobile home parks also. It's a great cash flow. It's affordable housing. But self storage has one thing those other things don't have, and it's they don't have tenants. So you have customers, and it's really a business, not just real estate. And so there's a lot more levers you can pull, and it's a lot about revenue management and in self storage. There's still a lot of mom and pop operators, a lot of people who own 1 or 2 facilities, and they don't treat it like a business, and they may have owned it for a long time, or they don't have any debt. They may have built the property, and so a lot of these folks are just have great income coming in, and they are not really maximizing the value of these properties. And so we can come in and quickly on these properties do add value and turn around these facilities very fast. And we utilize technology and automation to help us do those things, and we can quickly raise the income, lower the expenses, which obviously increases the NOI, the net operating income, drives up the value, and then we can turn around, sell the property, or refinance, or continue to hold for cash flow.
Love it. Awesome. So cool, man. I just was curious just because I don't know that much about self-storage. We're definitely going to get into it, but this is Skorch the Fears. So I always start with like the first question that I ask every single guest, which is when you were starting out, because it sounds like you started out, you said residential wholesaling, right?
Yep.
So then you started out in residential wholesaling. When you were starting out, what were the fears that you had, and like how did you overcome those fears, especially at the beginning?
Yeah. So essentially, it was more. I think probably most people, it's like, am I going to be successful in this? Can I do what other people are doing, and be successful? And so I never was planning on going into real estate. I was doing timeshare sales full face to face. I wanted to do be a stockbroker, but then found out they work like 80 hours a week and don't get paid really that much overall, and in the beginning. And so essentially when I got started, it's like I took education. So I heard a radio ad for Ronald Reagan, how to buy houses with no money, and education up front kind of helped me not have so much fear over it. I had a good job that I was a top seller for the last 2 years of my company before I left, and so I didn't have as much fear. It's more probably when I quit my job to go full time because I was doing some deals in the beginning, but I wasn't you know, doing the numbers I thought I should be doing. So I was like, hey, I got to quit my job and go full time. And so probably at that point was more like, hey, am I going to be able to replace the income that I had going all in this vertical? And so what helped me to overcome that is just education. And so I preach education a lot. I continue to educate myself every single year, doubling down on masterminds and events, and I probably spend 80, 100K every year on my education and being in the right rooms and surrounding myself with people who can elevate me, elevate my thinking, and continue to help me grow and succeed.
Love it. Awesome. So then, like, you're going down the rabbit hole, you're starting how did you even hear about real estate? Right? Like,
Now,
how and what like, how'd you hear about it?
I was literally just driving on the highway. I know exactly where I was on the highway, and I just heard a radio ad for Ronald Reagan, how to buy houses with no money down. I was saving up money to buy a house, and instead it made sense to go buy this course. I went to a little boot camp, little 1 day thing where they sell you a boot camp for a 3 day event. I bought that boot camp for 5 grand. Then back in the day, it used to be like a pitch fest, so everybody goes in there and pitches their product and their software to help you do more deals and more foreclosures and one short sales and all these things. And I literally bought like so many of those items and or products, and then just educated myself while doing my full time job, and probably over educated myself before taking action. Now I would go back and take immediate action, but I really learned everything kind of up front, really studied it, and then took action and got success right away. And when we did self storage, we did the same thing. I got into self storage. I bought coaching. I learned it. I educated myself. Our first marketing campaign, we got a deal. And so a lot of it, over time I've learned is mindset. And so having the right mindset and taking massive action while educating yourself is like the three things that can really help you elevate get to success quickly.
I love it. I have so much in that. I want to quickly first talk about that moment where you heard that ad because I feel like that's a moment that a lot of people remember, a lot of successful real estate investors remember where they're like, wait a minute. That wait a minute moment. That was your wait a minute moment, right? I mean, my wait a minute moment, I was at a meetup and they were just talking about um real estate and owning it long term. And it's just a moment where it was like, wow, hold on a second. And they told me about wholesaling. I'm like, wait a minute, I can do that. I can be very, like, personable and get to know people. There's no inventory. I'm like, "Wait a minute, I can do this." Just talk about that moment for a second. Like, what was it like for you listening to that video? Like, was a fire in it immediately lit? Was it like, "Oh my god, I have to do this right now?" Like, talk about that moment, what it felt like for you when you, like, heard that ad.
Yeah, the ad definitely got me intrigued, and no money down, learning how to buy assets. And it was a quick ad, but it was the one guy at the event, and I honestly don't know his name. He was somebody who worked for Ronald Grant or one of his partners, and he was just up there, and he's doing his thing, telling his story, and he just stops, and then he just like laughs, and he's like, "Man, I didn't even graduate high school, and I flew here on my own jet, and you know, I'm living my best life, and I'm not the smartest guy." And I'm like, "Well, shit, I'm pretty smart. Like, I know, like, I'm good at math, like finance, like, I graduated with a finance degree. I could do it. If he could do it, then I know I can do it." And so that was the one that was like, when he did that, I was like, I literally went home and told my mom. I was like, "Man, like, I'm doing this. Like, I could do this." And so that was like really the moment, the spark that was like, let's take it over. Let's do it.
I love it. And then talking a little bit about let's talk about education too, because I think that's been hugely important to me, my mentorships. I mean, I'm part of Sub 2, I'm part of Astro Flipping with Jamil Damji. I mean, you've probably heard of both of these guys.
Yeah.
What like when should I think your answer is going to be immediately when should someone get educated, right? But I'm assuming those ones you got upsold, you had some money. When do you feel like somebody should start paying for education versus maybe doing the YouTube university route, or should they immediately pay for it if they can? What's your like opinions on how or like when you should get into mentorship?
Yeah, I think you should do it right away. I think maybe kind of dabbling into YouTube and get an idea of what you might actually want to do in real estate. Because the one thing with real estate is there's so many different ways to make money. You can do wholesaling, rehabbing, buy and holds, burst strategy, sub two, multifamily, mobile home park. You can do so much. So you should find that, maybe through YouTube, get some ideas of what interests you the most and what's important to you. And then at that point, get educated. So whether in every avenue, there's somebody in that niche who teaches that. And so if you have the ability, pay for education first. Because what I always say is you pay to skip the line. Like I don't like waiting in line pretty much anywhere I go, and I will gladly pay to skip the line. And that's what you're doing with education. You are literally skipping the line. People are giving you the knowledge of where they screwed up and what not to do, which is the most important. Not only what to do, but what not to do, and it gives you a leg up on getting to where you want to go faster. And so I would always say to pay to get educated. And if you don't have the capital, then go work for somebody for free or go ask to get a job working for them and learn from them and get educated on the job. And I think a lot of people right now see social media and YouTube and whatnot and want the immediate success and want what everybody else has and they just want it right away. People want, the gratification right away. And it takes a lot of work. Like I've been doing this for 12 years. It's not just the last, 2 years that I just got into this business. Then you can get successful in 2 years, but it's not for everybody. And so I think you know, if you had the capability of working with somebody, you know, being under a pace or myself or somebody else and learning from them on job training and getting paid while you do it, I think that's a good way to go and give them a year, 2 years to, really hone your skills and then go do your own thing. Learn how the businesses run and then go do your own thing.
So how would they work for you? Let's say there's a young kid watching this podcast right now and they're like, "Man, I really connect with this Alex guy. I really like him. I don't know if I have any skills that are important to him," right? Because I feel like this is the hardest thing, and this is what I've had trouble telling people who've said they'll work for me for free. Because someone who works for me for free, that can be more of a burden to the
Yeah.
business, really, than like a helpful. Like it's like you don't have any skills, so like, what am I going to even use you for? So how would one get a job with you, Alex? Like what would they have to do? I know that part of the answer will be giving value, but like how does one do that? How do they get a job or work under somebody so that they can learn?
Yeah, you got to see what they need, and how you can benefit them. And if you don't have skills, you need to go get skills. And so we are hiring for like acquisition reps. So if you're in sales and you need a job where you can get unlimited income because it's all commission based, it's salary. We get salary and plus commission, but your commission is not capped. And so essentially, you need to go get skills. So if you don't have sales skills, go get sales experience. Go do some door knocking. Go sell coca knives. Go read books on sales, videos on sales, get educated on sales. If you know sales, you can be successful in any industry. And so my background in timeshare sales helped me be successful in what I'm doing now. And so that's probably one of the most important skills. That and marketing, I think the whole business is marketing and sales. So go craft, go hone your skills in those two crafts and or one of them and go make yourself valuable to somebody, and they will pay you. Like I'd rather have a paid employee than somebody who works for me for free. We pay our people salary plus commission, like I said. So, you know, hone your skills, sales and marketing, and go be valuable to somebody.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Yeah, no, I mean that's I had a feeling that was the answer, but like yeah, guys, like I mean you gotta be I just wanna like emphasize this that you gotta be like really you have to actually be giving value first, right? I know people who sometimes like can get in for free and get somebody to be a mentor for them for free. But how I've seen that happen is more or less you're like you do something insanely creative that catches their attention and makes it like, okay, I just want to help this person. Right. It's really rare to do. I've seen it a few times, but I would say like it would either be, but it'd be more valuable if you actually have the skill, right? If you have a skill that people need, it's just going to be so much easier for you. And then you can use it, work for somebody else. They'll teach you this specific business, and then you can apply it to your own business so that you then can get super rich, right? So then this is something that's curious for me. I feel like I'm where you were at whatever point you were at when you're like, I'm ready to start switching from wholesaling to self-storage or to whatever you did next. So this is going to be a very personal question for me because this is what I do is I convince people to come on my podcast and then I get all the knowledge I want from them, more or less, right?
Yeah.
So my question for you now is when you were starting to switch from something other than wholesaling or flipping or whatever, especially when you were doing bigger stuff like self storage, right? That's a lot different than residential. I would say when you, whatever, was self storage the one after residential? Was that like the next step?
No, we did a mobile home parks first. I did it with a partner, and then got some multifamily, did that with a partner, and then did self storage as well after that.
Okay. So then when you're starting to switch to like a new one, something a little bit bigger than just the wholesaling, right? It's pretty hard to make a wholesaling into like $100 million business. I don't really know that many people who can do that, but people in like multifamily and self storage, they can scale these types of things. When you were starting these businesses, these bigger projects, right? How did you do it? Because did you get yourself completely out of the wholesaling first? And then did you put yourself as like an acquisition manager for self storage? Or did you just immediately hire people and like, no, we're just going to put in, 50K. We're going to hire everybody. That'll be enough for a couple months salary. And then we're going to just figure it out and start from the top. Like how did you do that?
Yeah. So initially, I did it with a partner. I taught a buddy of mine, how to get into real estate, how to start buying houses, flipping houses, doing some wholesaling, and he flipped a couple mobile homes, and he got interested in mobile home parks, and we went to a course together on buying mobile home parks, and we did a couple deals together, and he was kind of like, hey, let's do this, full time, let's focus on this. And for me, he came from a different industry and had, money set aside. And for me, I was constantly putting money back into my business and growing my wholesale business and, continue to pour into it. And so at that point in time, I didn't feel like I had enough in, reserves to kind of go all in. And so I, partnered with him on a couple deals and I kept growing my wholesale business. I wasn't in a place where I can replace myself and automate it. And so he went and did mobile home parks, and I focused on self storage. Sorry, in wholesaling, and continued to grow that, and dabbled here and there in some multifamily and stuff like that, but didn't make it my full focus. I was really focused on building my wholesale operation and getting that systemized. Because the one thing about commercial assets is a lot of times, there's no immediate income. You can make an acquisition fee up front, but a lot of guys I know, they were running negative for many times until the next deal closes and then they get an acquisition fee. And so that's just not like the lifestyle I wanted. I didn't want to also force deals just to get an acquisition fee. And so I'm very picky with the commercial deals we do, and I want to hit like home runs. I want to hit good deals like doubles and triples. Like I want to pick winners. And so that's what we do on the commercial assets. And so for me, I personally felt, hey, I need to take more time, grow my wholesale business because that is produces income. It's cash every single month you're making. And so now we're in a position where in 2020, 1920, that where I had my brother who's been with me for 10 years and educated along my way, been by my side, took all my knowledge and put him in place to run the wholesale operation where I can now focus on self storage. And now we're at doing numbers that made sense where we can, go into self storage full time with my focus full time in self storage. And that's what we did. And so it took me, really almost 2.5, 3 years to get to that point. But I really don't have regrets on that part of my life and my business because now we have a cash machine and I can be picky on self storage deals. I can be make sure we pick winners and not focus on the next acquisition fee because we have other income coming in from other businesses we have.
Gotcha. So it sounds like basically Automize the wholesaling business completely first, which I'm very close to being done with. I got a partner in my wholesaling business that's also making it a lot easier. And then be like kind of like an acquisitions manager in like finding the deals for self-storage and then having a partner who teaches you probably the operation side because I like it's probably somewhat different, the finding the deal process with a self-storage versus a residential, but I can't imagine sales is always sales in the end, right? Like it's the same. Is it that much different? It's just different lingo, basically.
I typically tell people who do wholesaling, I'm like, all you got to really do is change the list and ask different questions. Instead of how many bedrooms and bathrooms you have, you're saying, what's your unit mix and what's your occupancy.
Right.
So it's just a little bit different language, different questions you ask, different add value, different things you look for in the profit and loss statement to see what you can tweak and take off here and there. And so overall, it's the same concept. And so that's why it's an easy transition. And the one thing mentioning partners, I do a lot of other businesses and they're successful because of partners. We always say,
Yeah.
my partner says, partnerships equal rocket ships. And so if you can partner with the right people and their success, they have these certain skills that are very successful, like an operations guy, and you're the acquisition guy, that's a great partnership. And so for instance, like I own like 15 short-term rentals and I don't do a thing with them. I partner with guys who all they do is short-term rentals and they handle that. And so I find them and I'll hand them to them. Sometimes they find them, they bring it to me, and I'll raise the capital. So when you can have good partners and people who especially specialize in what they do, that's the best kind of partners. And so going back to my guy with the mobile home parks, if I, we just had dinner the other night, and I was like, I have people still bring me mobile home park deals, and if I found a good one, and and I know how to do it, I operate one without him already in Asheville, and I would still probably bring him in on it because he just got the operations down. And so if I just found the deal and handed it to him and took a lesser piece of the pie, I know he could run it and I don't have to really have to worry about that. And I can still focus on self storage while buying other different assets and not having the whole pie, but sharing in it with somebody who that's their specialty, that's what they're good at. And and we all succeed and all win and all eat.
I love it. I mean, like this is something that I learned recently because for the people who had like have a worse mindset about that, I like Alex, you're giving away 50% of the company though, right? Like aren't you like that's so much money, right? Like why are you giving away 50% of these companies to partners?
Yeah, so on the business side, we don't do like a lot of partnerships on like, hey, we're gonna buy a bunch of assets together. It's more like a one-off. So on like that one-off, hey, I got a lead, I'm gonna bring you this deal, and we're partnering on this deal. And it's for me, it makes sense, and for most people, it makes sense because you're doing less. So if you can only have to focus on this avenue, and you don't have to be the alpha, the omega, the everything to the deal, and you can have partners. It allows you to be more successful, allows you to grow faster, allows you to do more, and scale quicker. And so if I'd rather have 100 deals and own 25% of them than 5 deals and own 100% of them. And so it's just a faster way to get to be successful. And those people are niched out. So especially like you don't want to partner with somebody who you guys do the same thing, or it's not going to really um, give you exponential growth. Essentially, you want to make the right partners. It's hard to find good partners, but you want to find the right people that you connect with that have different skills than you, so you get exponential growth. If you just partner with somebody and you just do double what you're doing, it doesn't really do that much for you. But if you find the right partner and you know 5, 10, 20x what you thought you could do on your own, then that's the right partner.
I love it. So then you said you don't partner on the businesses, but you said we don't partner on the businesses. Who's we?
Me and my brother are partners in everything.
So there you go. So you even the businesses you have a partner, it's your brother, right?
Yeah.
So like I'm curious, like did you just like I know are you guys similar skill sets or are you guys opposite skill sets, even if you're brothers?
I'm more a visionary CEO, and he's more the manager, more literally a manager. Like he's literally a perfect manager. He manages our sales team, our the whole operation of the wholesale operation. The sales team, the dispo team, the transaction team. He manages all each
Yeah.
department.
So I just wanted to like I love ranting about this, so I'm gonna go a little rant real quick where I talk about guys, partnerships are the best thing ever. Literally everything if you find the right problem, it's 1 plus 1 equals 11, not 2, right? Like that's how it can be magical with partners. Everyone I know who's like really, really successful has some sort of partner, whether it's Pace, Jamil, you, like I recently just got a partner and I gave up half my wholesaling business because they had a wholesaling business and then we merged them and it's been amazing ever since, right? So the real question though is that it really is the hard one is what do you look for in a partner and how do you find that partner?
Yeah. So for looking for what do I look for in them? I look for them to have specialized skill sets. So like I have partners in like short-term rentals, like I mentioned, and that's all they do. Like that's their passion. They love it. They don't do anything else. And so, and I know they're successful. I've seen their success. I know them personally. And so I know they're good people. I know they have high morals, high standards. And so those are the people I look for and I partner with on the same aspect of the mobile home parks as well. A great guy. I know him for a long time. He's a doer. He's an action taker. He has that skill set. Partner with them, and my other partners as well in different avenues that we have. They're beasts at what they do. They super focus. They're drivers. They push their businesses forward, and they've done a lot. And so from people who are successful, people who've shown success, have a track record of success, and specialized skills.
That makes sense. Do you feel like there has to be anything? Because at least for me with my partners, I also like them to have somewhat of the same morals. Maybe it's different if it's real estate deals. I think like for instance, like I mean, it seems like your brother is like your main business partner, right? I mean, brothers, that was an easy find in a little way. How did you end up partnering with your brother? Like how did that process start?
Well, he was only 18, and I told him, "You're going to come work for me."
Oh, well, that's
Well,
an easy way to do it.
that was easy. And so essentially that way. But my other main business partner, I'd known him for I used to work for him in our travel club timeshare business, and he built a huge company to multiple 8 million, 8 figures. And so he had skills, specialized skill set. He was a beast in what he does in marketing, and he runs our marketing for our wholesale operation. And we have a call center in South America that we do lead generation for other people. And he runs that whole business, and he lives in South America, and he runs that operation. And so essentially, we're strategic partners, and it's a win-win because we both push each other and both help each other grow our businesses. And it's he's proven himself, and I know he has that specialized knowledge. So it's easy to pick when people have the track record, and I've really only probably partnered with people I've known for a while too, a long time.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So, real quick, what can my audience do for you? Where should they follow you? What type of deals are you looking for? How can my audience add value to you? Because I'm super grateful that you're here. They're super grateful that you're here. So tell me, like, how can we help you out? How can people reach out to you? Tell me
Cool.
all the things we want to plug right now.
Yep. So that's my tag right there at alex.theinvestor.quesada. We give a lot of valuable content on YouTube. So if you want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, you want to go follow me on IG, definitely follow me there. And for me, I'm buying self storage across the country. So if you have any existing self storage facilities and that you know of, or know somebody who wants to sell, and you want to send those my way, I would love that. I'm also buying creative deals in Orlando, Tampa area, and the surrounding counties. So I'm a buyer for those deals. If you have anything to sell, wholesale, I'll pay your fee. And then if you are more on the passive side and you want to just invest passively, we have like a deal I mentioned before, the Tallahassee deal. Reach out to me on IG or anywhere, IG, I guess. DM me on IG storage, and I will send you some information on that opportunity. Again, it's for accredited investors only. It's a 506C syndication, and like a 2.2x multiple on your invested income is 28% IRR projected after we build it, lease it up, and sell it. And so, if I can help you out with passive income stream, or you can bring me deals and I can pay you a big wholesale fee, let's do that.
I love it. I love it so much. Thank you, my man. I appreciate you. Do you have any last words for everyone before I wrap this thing up?
I'd say on most what I say on most podcasts and whatnot is speed of implementation. So get educated, but implement what you learn as quick as possible. That's the number one key for success is speed of implementation. Take action immediately.
Love it. Thank you, my man. I appreciate you so much for coming on. I really, really do appreciate it. This is Scorch the Fears. We'll be back next week, Thursday. I already forgot who's on next week. I think it's Austin Rutherford. He's also pretty cool. He's going to be on next week. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate you. This is Scorch the Fears. Let's freaking go.